Well, hello again, all my YouTube browsers and subscribers, and thanks once more for taking the time to tune in to Classic Dirt Bike TV. Now, if you're a first-time browser to my channel, I do hope you find something in here to entertain you with regards looking at these old vintage race bikes. Now, coming up in this next video, we're going back to the Classic Motocross De Nations at Ballyblack Road in Northern Ireland, and we're going to continue looking at the racing footage from that event. So we're not going to waste too much time here. We're just going to dive straight into the video. So this will be race 5, and it's the 50 plus racing category. Yes indeed, welcome back to part 2 of the Classic Motocross De Nations from Northern Ireland, Ballyblack Road here, and this is race 5, the 50 plus class. A very good lineup of riders for this particular race, and as you can see, the weather here at Ballyblack Road is still perfect for this kind of racing. Looks like one of the Irish guys having a bit of problem getting his bike started in the background there, but looks like he's now got it fired up and taking his place in the line. So this is race 5, the 50 plus class. We're just waiting on the 15-second board being raised. Looks like we're just about good to go. 15-second board is up. And so, as they leave the line, it looks like an excellent start by Keith Best there on that CZ machine. It looks like Adrian Lappin is in second position. Looks like we have 2 or 3 followers in the background there. I think that's Karol Litska on the 380 CZ from the Czech Republic. Looks like Nick Archer from England's in there as well, and Eric Haney from Switzerland. Looks like they've all been involved in that turn 1 incident. So we're picking up our race leader. It's still Keith Best, your race leader. Second is still Adrian Lappin on the Cecil Pearson Jap machine. But a good collection of very quick riders in this 50 plus class. And also look out for ex-Kawasaki Works rider racing in this race, the famous Lawrence Spence. And Lawrence is taking part in this race on a borrowed old CZ side piper. So we're just looking to the far side of the track, and it still looks like it's Keith Best, number 6, your race leader. It still looks like Adrian Lappin is in second position there for Northern Ireland. So it's the Czechoslovakian CZ machine who's in front of the John Alfred Presswich Jap engine machine. So as they come round to complete lap 1, it's still number 6 Keith Best on the 380 CZ who is your race leader. Now, as you can see, the track here at Ballyblack Road is still in perfect condition, although the dust is now beginning to flow, so hopefully it won't get too dusty for the racing later in the programme. So it's number 6 Keith Best, your race leader. Second, Adrian Lappin. It looks like one of the Welsh riders in third place. There's Lawrence Spence just going through there in 4th position. Trevor Calderwood's just making his way through there. But as I mentioned, some very quick riders in this 50 plus class race. Some of the Southern Ireland riders just going through there in the orange and green. But this is quite a long race for these older riders and bikes. It's 20 minutes plus 1 lap for this particular race. Naturally, we won't show you every single lap, but we'll certainly give you most of this racing. So it's quite a long race for these older bikes. We're looking at Craig McCoo there on the Greaves Challenger as he pops a little wheelie. So once more we check out our race leader. It's still Keith Best, number 6 for Team England. Adrian Lappin is still in second position on the Jap, although it looks like Keith is beginning to stretch that lead at the front. I think that's Lawrence Spence now, who is up into third position, and I'm sure that Lawrence is riding a bike that he borrowed from Trevor Calderwood, an old CZ Sidepiper. But here's your race leader as he comes round to complete another lap. It's still number 6 Keith Best for Team England. Second is still Adrian Lappin from Northern Ireland, and there is Lawrence Spence there in third position. Looks like one of the Czechoslovakian riders in fourth there. And Trevor Calderwood just going through there, number 14 for Northern Ireland. As you can see, quite a nice crowd who's turned up to take a look at this racing here at Ballyblack Road. But quite a long lap here at this circuit. I think it's just under the mile marker for a complete lap of this racetrack, but quite a long race, this 20 minutes plus a lap. Number 55 there, that's Stephen Shaw from Southern Ireland, riding his CZ 380. Number 37 there, that's one of these Scottish riders, that's Archie Baird. And you may remember we showcased Archie's CZ machine right at the start of the paddock video, if you've not already seen it. So we're looking to pick up our race leader once again. It's still number 6 Keith Best on the CZ 380 machine. Adrian Lappin looks like he's fallen back ever so slightly there on the John Alfred Presswitch Jap machine. But here's your race leader, number 6 Keith Best, as he comes round to complete another lap. As I mentioned, quite a long race for these older bikes and older riders, but nevertheless it's good entertainment for the crowd that's attended this Ballyblack Road event. Just picking up one or two of the other riders as they make their way across the finish line. It looks like Trevor Calderwood just going through there again, and another one of the England riders. I think that could be Rupert Copping there at the back in the white, and he's riding another CZ 380 as we look at Trevor Calderwood. Trevor of course, the owner and operator of Chiltech Refrigeration, and Trevor has a very good selection of these old CZ bikes in his workshop, so Trevor quite kindly lends his machines to other riders to race at these events. As we look at number 37 again, Archie Baird. He's just passing one of the Welsh riders, that's number 34, that's Andy Carter, who is also riding a Czechoslovakian bike. So it looks like it's still Keith Best, your race leader. Now I think Lawrence Spence has now moved up into second position, a bit further down the track, but nevertheless second position. I think Adrian Lappin is now in third place on that Jap machine, but this is a very good ride by Keith Best on the 380 CZ as he crosses the line to complete another lap. Number 13 there, that's Adrian Lappin on the Cecil Pearson Rickman Jap. I think Adrian is now down into third position, still doing very well in that old 1930s engined machine. Number 38 there is John Fleming from Scotland, riding one of those other yellow CZ bikes that we featured in the paddock video in a previous posting. But the Northern Ireland Classic Scramble Club, who's holding this event, was formed way back in 1989 and initially ran 5 events in its first year as a club, but it now has a very healthy membership of over 300, which also include a younger youth section so that the younger riders can have a club to race their bikes with. But it's all family oriented and a very good way to spend your weekend. And so as a race leader comes round to complete yet another lap, it's still Keith Best in first position. Keith's almost led this race right from the start gate, but still doing very well out there in front. Second position looks like it's still Lawrence Spence, who's just coming through in the green there. So it's Lawrence Spence in second position. We're looking at number 14 again, Trevor Calderwood, a local man from Newtonards. Trevor absolutely loves these old Czechoslovakian race bikes, and as I mentioned, does have quite a nice collection of these old CZs. And you may remember that Trevor won the Don Matthews CZ World Championships in Marysville in California in 2016. So Trevor did really well at that event to bring the silverware home to Northern Ireland. But as you can see, a beautiful day here at Ballyblack as we take a look at this 50 plus class race. It's one of the Welshmen just going through there. And so as the laps begin to count down, we are still looking at Keith Best, your race leader, but it looks like Lawrence Spence is beginning to close the gap on Keith Best. He's still a bit behind, but nevertheless he's certainly closer than he's ever been in this race before. So we have still a ways to go to the finish of this race, so it could get very nice as we get nearer the end of this race, and we might have a close finish in this 50 plus class race. Number 40 there for Scotland, that's Willie Gordon, just being passed by our race leader. We're looking at one of the Czechoslovakian riders, or Czech Republic riders, sorry, that's Miroslav Nedjili on the 400 CZ machine. Quite hard to pick out the riders' names from my vantage point on top of the platform here, but nevertheless we'll do our best as we watch Trevor Calderwood completing another lap. Looking at number 17 there, that's Tommy Carlson from Sweden, and he's riding a big Jawa 500 machine. Another one of the Scottish riders just making their way through. And also coming towards us in the background there is number 56, that's Andy Nicol, who's riding for Southern Ireland on that CZ 380 bike. And as you can see, this is a race leader, Keith Best, and Lawrence Spence is now moved up within striking distance of Keith Best, so this could be a good race to the finish line. So it's Keith Best, your race leader, with Lawrence Spence very close behind now with only a few laps to go. So it's Keith Best first, Lawrence Spence is in second position there in the green at number 15 on that side Piper CZ. Yes, and just in case you're wondering, this is the very same Lawrence Spence who raced a Wirtz Kawasaki back in the day, and people still talk of that big day at the 1983 Motocross World Championship race at Farley Castle when Lawrence raced his Kawasaki in a 45-minute moto against the great Graham Noyce when the gearbox on his Kawasaki broke just yards from the checkered flag, and Lawrence had to then drag his bike with the back wheel locked up about 20 yards just to get it across the line. But people still talk about that event that day, and what a guy. And here he is, still pretty damn quick, riding this old Sidepiper CZ. But it looks like there's nothing between these guys now, so it's still Keith Best with the slight advantage over Lawrence Spence. Lawrence Spence is going out wide in the turn to come in tight, and the two guys are almost side by side as they take the jump, but it's still the advantage to Keith Best. Lawrence Spence trying to go round the outside, but it's still Keith Best, your race leader. As they cross the line to complete another lap, it's still number 6 first. Number 15 is still Lawrence Spence there, and the crowd absolutely loving this race between these two very talented riders. And so as they start to head up the hill at this very dusty Ballyblack Road racetrack, it's still Keith Best, your race leader. Second, Lawrence Spence. But this has been a cracking race by Keith Best. He's led this race right from the drop of the start gate, but a very good race developing here for the closing stages of this 50 plus class race. So it's still advantage to Keith Best. Lawrence Spence closing up once again as they make the turn to come into the infield of the racetrack. So as they come around the far side of the track, it's still Keith Best with the slight advantage over Lawrence Spence, but Lawrence Spence looks like he's going round the outside and takes the lead of this 50 plus class race. So this has been a fantastic ride by the veteran Lawrence Spence. Keith Best has had most of the front running in this 50 plus class race, but it's now Northern Ireland's Lawrence Spence, your race leader. And Lawrence is riding a bike, I think, that he borrowed from the Trevor Calderwood collection, an old CZ Sidepiper, but as he comes round to complete yet another lap, he will certainly get plenty applause from that Northern Irish spectator crowd that's lined to see this fantastic race. So it's Lawrence Spence in first position with Keith Best in second. And so as these riders begin their last and final lap of this 50 plus class race, we're looking at Lawrence Spence, your race leader, who's already beginning to stretch that lead to Keith Best, who led almost all of this race right from the start gate, but nevertheless Lawrence Spence riding superbly as he heads out to the far side of the racetrack. But this has been a fantastic ride by Lawrence Spence. I'm sure Keith will be the first person to congratulate him as he crosses the finish line if Lawrence ends up winning this race. But just a few turns to go for this Northern Irishman. But what a fantastic ride by this veteran motocross rider. So as he makes the last 2 or 3 turns and heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be a very well deserved win for this man here at number 15, Lawrence Spence from Northern Ireland, and it's going to be Keith Best from England in second position. Okay, we're going to move right along here with the 30 plus class, and thankfully the weather is still absolutely superb here at Ballyblack Road, so I do hope you're enjoying this part 2 racing action from the Classic Motocross De Nations 2016. So the riders look like they're about good to go. We're just waiting on the 15-second board. It is up now, so as the riders leave the line, looks like a good start by one of the Japs here. I think that could be John Griffiths, who's made a fantastic start on the Cecil Pearson Rickman Jap. But a nice gaggle of riders for this 30 plus class race. Now I do have much more of this racing footage from the 2016 Classic Motocross De Nations event, and I'll certainly post more of this racing on my channel at a later date. And so as you can see, the dust beginning to fly here at Ballyblack Road as we take in this 30 plus class race. We're just looking to the far side of the track to see who our race leader is. It was, I think it was John Griffiths at the start of that lap 1. It still looks like it's John Griffiths in the green there, aboard the Cecil Pearson Jap machine. This section at the bottom of the track was quite boggy and muddy at one point. It seems to have dried up ever so slightly, but it looks like it's still John Griffiths on the Jap, the Rickman Jap machine. I don't know, I think that could be Scott Hayworth in second position for England. So as they come round to complete at lap 1, it is indeed John Griffiths on the Rickman Jap who is your race leader as he crosses the checkered flag. Just pick up our second man. I think that is Scott Hayworth in second, and one of the Welsh riders going through in third position. Although I must say I've certainly missed my trip to Northern Ireland in 2020 due to the dreaded COVID, but hopefully things will improve in 2021 and we can get back to looking at more of this fantastic racing with the Northern Ireland guys, who always treat me like a king when I arrive at their race meetings, and the hospitality that you get from these Irish guys is second to none. Looks like one of the riders has had a short spill or maybe a mechanical failure. But sometime in the future, if you do get the chance to visit Northern Ireland and you're into your classic motocross racing, then do look up the Northern Ireland Classic Motorcycle Racing Club and try and take in one of their classic events, and you will be made most welcome by all these guys from the club. So we're looking at our race leader. It's still John Griffiths on the Cecil Pearson Jap machine. Scott Hayworth is in second position. Now these Cecil Pearson Jap bikes of course have that total loss oil lubrication system, so this is quite a long race for these old Japs. Hopefully they won't run out of engine oil before the end of this race. So it's still advantage John Griffiths with Scott Hayworth close behind, riding for Team England. Of course, sadly, we no longer have this racetrack here at Ballyblack Road, but it was a fantastic venue when it was up and running. So we're looking at number 39 there for Northern Ireland. That's William Dixon riding another Side Piper CZ bike. There's plenty of these old CZs at this event, and it's very hard not to mention them when they're racing, because a very big percentage of the riders were using them at this Classic Motocross De Nation, so it's quite hard not to mention them during a race event. But it looks like Scott Hayworth is now taking the lead of this 30 plus class race. John Griffiths now down into second position. So we'll just watch Scott Hayworth and see if he starts to stretch his lead at the front of this pack. And this has still been a very good ride by Scott Hayworth. John Griffiths had much of the early running in this race thus far, but looks like Scott is taking advantage and is in the lead of this 30 plus race. John Griffiths there still in second place, fighting there on the big Cecil Pearson Rickman Jap bike. And it's also thanks to Cecil Pearson for supplying this viewing platform that I'm actually filming the racing from. So thanks to Cecil for supplying my equipment for this event. We're looking at number 37, that's Stephen Shields for the team Northern Ireland 2, also riding one of Cecil Pearson's Jap machines. And so as we look to the far side of the track again to pick up our race leader, it's still at number 3, it's Scott Hayworth for England, your race leader. Scott riding a fantastic race here and beginning to stretch his lead from second place man John Griffiths from Northern Ireland. So there is your race leader, number 3, Scott Hayworth, who is actually listed in the racing programme as riding a Greaves 250, but this bike certainly doesn't look like a Greaves. Second place man there is John Griffiths, number 18. John started this race very well and is still in second position. Now we are looking at number 38, that's Gareth Dunlop, and number 20 there is George Porter from Team Northern Ireland 1. Now as you can see, the conditions here at Ballyblack Road getting drier by the minute as the dust begins to fly, but thankfully it's not too bad at this moment in time. So we're looking to the far side of the track, and the rider just coming round in the white there, that's number 9, that's Ricky Pedder from the England Team 2, and Ricky's riding a very nice and quite a quick bike, a Triumph 650 Twin. So Ricky Pedder, of course, one of England's top classic riders, and this is a very nice old Triumph that Ricky's riding in this 30 plus class. Also coming towards us there is number 33 for Scotland there, that's Brian Hamilton, and very surprisingly Brian's riding, would you believe it, a CZ machine. So this time round we're looking at number 11 for England Team 2, that's of course Chris Collins on his BSA 500 bike. Chris is one of the 4 team members of England Team 2, along with Ricky Pedder, Keith Barnes and Glenn Davey. Although getting back to our race leader, it's still number 3, Scott Hayworth, who is your race leader of this 30 plus class race. Scott just going through there, and we are now looking at number 38, that's Gareth Dunlop on that quite rare Bull Tackle 250, the little bull tow with the boat tail as they're called, but a lovely little bike this, and a quite rare machine, this machine of Gareth Dunlop's. Number 18 just coming through to pass him there, that's John Griffiths once again on the Cecil Pearson Jap. As we look at our race leader, number 3, Scott Hayworth, as he heads up the hill to take in another lap of this Ballyblack Road racetrack. But this has been a very good ride by England's Scott Hayworth, number 3. Scott had a reasonably good start, and once he passed John Griffiths, Scott just stretched his lead and as you can see, he has a substantial lead over the second placed rider. So I think barring any mechanical issues, Scott is well on his way to taking the win in this 30 plus class. So that's number 3, Scott Hayworth. Now I think John Griffiths here is still in second position, albeit down the pack a bit from Scott Hayworth, but nevertheless still in a very good second place on that Rickman Jap. Quite a long race for these old Jap bikes with their total loss oil lubrication system, but we're looking at a nice gaggle of Welsh riders as they make their way around to start another lap. And so as we head towards the closing stages of this 30 plus class race here at Ballyblack Road, I think it's still Scott Hayworth, your race leader. This has been an excellent ride by the Englishman. I'm not sure if John Griffiths is still in that coveted second position. It looks like that could be Ricky Pedder there up into second place. So as they come round to begin their last and final lap of the Ballyblack Road circuit, it's number 3, Scott Hayworth, your race leader, as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap. Number 9 going through there is indeed Ricky Pedder, who looks like he's in second position. Number 1 there looks like that's Wayne Partington. Number 2 there is Keith Rice, also riding for England in this 30 plus class race. But I do hope you've enjoyed taking a look at some of the racing action from this 2016 Motocross De Nations event. Like I said, I will post more footage from this race event later on my YouTube channel, so make sure you look out for that. But I do hope you've enjoyed most of the racing footage from this fantastic weekend here at Ballyblack Road. So we're just looking to pick up our race leaders again, and I do apologise, this wasn't the final lap. This is the start of the last and final lap of this 30 plus race, so apologies for that. So it's still Scott Hayworth, your race leader. Second is number 9, Ricky Pedder, and both these riders are now heading towards the checkered flag on their last and final race lap. As we look at John Griffiths there on the Jap bike, just looks like John's just passing Trevor Calderwood there for that track position. So I think John could possibly finish in third position in this 30 plus class race. So here is your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. In fact, it looks like it could be Ricky Pedder who's going to take the win in this race. It is indeed a win for Ricky Pedder, with Scott Hayworth in second. Well, I do hope you enjoyed both parts of the racing footage from this Classic Motocross De Nations 2016 race event here at Ballyblack Road in Northern Ireland. Now, I do have some more of those very nice paddock bikes that we saw at this event, so I may make another video of the remainder of those nice bikes and post it at a later date. Okay, coming up in my next video, we're going back to showcasing individual race machines again, and in my next video we'll be taking a look at this very nice CR250 Honda Red Rocket belonging to Luke Freudino, and we'll be taking a look at his bike in the next video. It's not a fully original CR250 Honda, but still certainly worth a look here on my channel. So until the next time, everybody, continue to be safe and well until we all meet up once more, and so we can talk about more vintage iron right here on Classic Dirt Bike TV.